recording now. I'm David Flint, and I'm speaking to Peter Manuel from Flag Australia, and Peter's over there in South Australia in the Alexandrina Shire, and I'm speaking from Sydney. And Peter, you have an issue with the Alexandrina Council. Could you tell us what is happening in your area?
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor. We do appreciate your videos on Australians Take Back Your Country. They're most important. Yes, David, we've got a councillor, Mike Farrier, who's going to introduce a motion tomorrow night at the Alexandrina Council that our farm rates could double if he gets the support. Now, this means our discretionary rate will go, our primary production will go, and we will get charged the same as in the suburbs. And some people might say, well, that's fair enough. Well, people have got to realise one thing. Us mum and dad farmers, we have to pay for all our infrastructure. We don't get any help. We have to put our bores in, our dams, our rainwater tanks. We haven't got mains water. We haven't got main sewerage, and we haven't got a problem with even rates for even services. A lot of us have to take our rubbish, 4 or 5 kilometres down the road at a central point. And this particular guy, Councillor Farrier, fair dinkum, people are very, very upset that this is even spoken about in council tomorrow night. And I wish this this Mike Farrier would rescind this, because it's absolute lunacy. That means that, for instance, let's just say that my rates here are $3,000. They will double to $6,000. Now, we've got to sell quite a few sheep or lambs to get that sort of money. We've got to sell quite a few weaners to get that sort of money. And of course, we've got all the add-on costs. And we put up with fire, we put up with flood, we put up with mice plagues, we put up with animal activists, we put up with draconian laws from government that's taking our water with low flow bypasses, also right to take water levy, whether we use it or not, and the madness continues. And this means, David, that to spending less money for our sporting clubs, and I hope that the other councillors who will be voting on them just shuts this down. I'll be at the council meeting, and if it's an even vote, I hope the Mayor, Keith Parks, who I've got a lot of time for, votes against this ridiculous motion. I really do, David.
Does the Mayor have a casting vote in your council? In other words, he can, if it's an even vote, he can add another vote?
Yes, he does. He certainly does. So, sorry, David.
And tell me, in Alexandrina Council, do they also supply the city water? No, we don't. No, that's relied on the Murray. So no, we certainly don't. I see. And you have to look after your own water. You look after your own garbage, and it's all based, as I understand it, on the value of the real estate. When you have rates, but you have a different rate for rural properties than you do for city properties.
That's correct. And this Mike Farrier allegedly wants the same rate for the same rate as in town here in Strathalbyn or in the Alexandrina Council. Because what's happened now is we've got a lot of our beautiful agricultural land, farming land, that has all been subdivided for houses. This, you can't comprehend this. This is just absolutely criminal, what he's trying to do here. It really is. And when we have a look what's happening with China, with the Communist Chinese Party, we need our mum and dad farmers desperately to keep growing food. And this is just another impost that we don't need, David. It's ridiculous. It really is. It shouldn't be happening.
I would agree. I have never heard of this in councils in Australia. There's usually a different rate. I think there's always a different rate for the town properties,
because they work in a different principle. You have a smaller piece of land, whereas in the country for a farm, you have to have a larger piece of land. It's also your business, and it's a business that requires an enormous amount of land. And if you vary the rates between, say, a shop in the city or a unit, a home unit in the city, if you make the same rate there, the councils are going to make an enormous amount of money. What on earth are they going to do with it?
Well, we've just got a huge subdivision that's gone on here in Strathalbyn. So, and the developers pay for the road and the gutters and all the rest, all the infrastructure there, and the council reaps the benefits. This is just nonsense, David. It really is. And it comes back to your book that you co-authored with Jide Martinkovitz, Give Us Back Our Country. And you talk about the United Nations Agenda 21, which we know the UN's got a huge influence in councils around the world. And when you have a look at this United Nations Agenda 21, it's all about destroying farming. They don't want farmers. They want us all living in the city, and there's no jobs. And of course, what happens? We're on welfare and the government can control us. Well, we don't want that. And let's hope tomorrow night the other councillors shut this particular councillor down, because at the end of the day, once in your life, you'll need a teacher. Once in your life, you'll need a preacher. Once in your life, you'll need a policeman. But 3 times a day, every day, you'll need a mum and dad farmer. So, Mr. Farrier, if you see this YouTube interview, just listen to what I've just said there, because you eat, mate, you eat.
Well, this is so important. I know that the elites are trying to get rid of meat. They want everybody to be eating vegetables. The CSIRO is even telling us we should be eating insects. And that seems to be a rather appalling thought, that we should be eating insects. But there's a mad drive for us all not to eat meat and to avoid dairy products and the like. But of course, those who are pushing it, just as they do in relation to travel, those who are pushing it say that there should be a different rule for them, because the ones who are obsessed with carbon dioxide emissions, for example, all seem to have their own aeroplanes. They seem to travel a lot. They seem to have enormous carbon dioxide footprints. They're all calling for us to have very small ones. And the same with the products of the mum and dad farmers, who are so important for Australia, who made the agricultural industry of this country. And without them, we will never have efficient, fresh, beautiful food as we have it now.
David, I've got no more to say on that. You've just nailed it. I just want to say thank you very much for your support. The mum and dad farmers of Australia really appreciate what you do for us. And I've got no more to say. You've just nailed it there. Thank you very, very much for doing this interview.
And in conclusion, let me repeat this point, that there's no significant problem in Australia, which, if it were not created by the politicians or has been made significantly worse by the politicians. No significant problem. And that applies to all politicians, whether they be at the council level, the state government level, and the federal government level. And what we desperately need is to make them subject to the same sort of control that everyone in business, everybody who runs a farm has, everybody's employed is. We're all controllable 24/7. We all have to answer to someone, but the politicians aren't. And we have to introduce a system which makes all politicians controllable by the people 24/7. And there is a petition where people can read about the proposed solution to achieve that. And we'll put that in the text so people can understand what really is involved. But what you're doing is very important, and may you prevail at the council chamber. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. And again, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.